grab a Bluetooth speaker.
All right.
And we'll carry the day.
Oh, that's convenient. See, I can't even see a camera view here. Okay. Oh, there you're looking at the corner of my room. Wow, there it is. It's a very, very, very complicated thing to enter. Most people don't comprehend the perspective or the perception of jurisdiction. Most are trapped or enslaved by it. But effectively, if you do the research back, you see where the patterns have been formed, they call law, then the patterns they call policy. Colonialism is policy, and jurisdictionally, land law by clan mothers is in fact the right thing.
Wonderful. Moon, I'm going to I'm going to begin by welcoming everyone. Good afternoon. This is Siava Lisa Wolf. We are having today an online Mending the Hoop Council to talk about matrilineality, and our guests include Moon, who is with us from the Northland, and Eagle Eye Man, and we have a number of other people joining us, and our topics are to include: what does matrilineal sovereignty entail? What does it look like? And we're hoping also to have Stuart Myouw of the Kaneohe Longhouse and the Lifegivers Nation joining us. So we'll be talking about how matrilineal sovereignty helps in mending the hoop and healing the earth in accord with the Tura Wampum Treaty and the Great Law of Peace. And we'll also be learning about who Musa was and his teachings, and are they still relevant in this historic restoration. So welcome, everyone.
Maybe it's on.
And I believe that Stuart Myouw just joined us. So I'd like to welcome and ask to unmute Stuart and Eagle and Moon, so you all can meet, because hopefully this will be a conversation that I facilitate and just help move the conversation forward. So welcome, and to all of our guests. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey.
There we are.
Moon, would you be so kind as to do an opening prayer? Yes, please. And welcome Longhouse Stuart Myouw.
Sorry, we're just having technical things here.
All right.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Are you speaking?
I'm not speaking. No.
Okay. She wasn't saying anything. All right. Waiting for
Okay.
you, man. Prayer.
Okay.
All right.
Prayer. Creator of all things good, of the Father Sky, the Mother Earth, and everything between. It's just come to a point, and I think it's time that we started to learn together, talk together, and share our insights and our truths, because what we have around us is a fabrication. So at the end of the day, I wish all my relations power and the strength to fulfill our end of this end of the dark ages, because we're in the light ages now, and it's not going well. So, Creator of all things good, bring what we need, we will do what we can. All my relations. What I was saying earlier about jurisdiction is the perspective of where you are. Meredith Quinn said it the best, and he said it, if you know who you are, what you are, where you are, and who really owns what, and you don't have to learn anything about the corporation. But for those of you who do not know, I'll explain it. It's basically in a nutshell what he said. What?
Just a prayer for now.
Oh, I didn't realize. Okay, please, I'll turn it back to you. That's fine.
No, that's fine. I wanted to welcome also Stuart Myouw, if you're here.
Just need time.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, we're here. Sorry, we were muted.
Wonderful. Stuart, I wanted to introduce you, and Moon, I don't know if you know each other.
No.
I don't believe, who is he?
Stuart, he is, hang on, I've got to adjust the camera.
Hello.
Did you see him?
Hey,
Did you see him?
So really
he's
what I'm
here.
hoping is that we're creating an opportunity for you gentlemen to come together and let's talk about the basis of matrilineal sovereignty and how we all move forward.
Okay, then I'll take this opportunity then to to introduce myself. My name is Gazit Danzario. I am the son of Gahawanuje. So I'll introduce myself in my language. Gazit Danzario Yojets Gahawanuje and Dujets going to star Haronata Haruni. So who I am is I am the son of the last remaining legal title holder, clan mother, female chief within the Ganyagahaga Nation. Within law, she was the last living title up until 1989. In 1989, all the other titles have been relinquished. They have relinquished, they put their own fires out. So this is who I am. We have been maintaining since 89 within our house here in Ganawagi, holding on to Guyana Raskanagoa to keep us alive. We have passed the titleship of clan mother from the time that my mother died in 1989. We had moved it. It was first presented while my mother was still alive in 89. We were here in Ganawagi in the Mohawk Trail Longhouse. We had built that. And while my mother was still alive, we were, because she was sick and dying, everybody knew, that we were looking to pass the title. And at the time, the only eligible person was now the late Winnie. Her married name is Winnie McCumber, but her maiden name was Winnie David. Her father, Sloss David, was the Turtle Clan title holder in Akwesasne. So when my mother was dying and we went to pass it to her, she had refused the title. Now, anybody who's not familiar with the Ganyagahaga people, that we are a people of law, Guyana Raskanagoa, meaning that even your identity of being able to say Ganyagahaga, that this is something that is yours. It is something that legally you can relinquish. if Ganyangahaga does not uphold law, then we are no longer eligible to be identified as Ganyangahaga. So within law, that when a person is presented with the title and they refuse it, they are never to be presented with it again. They pull themselves out of the pool of eligibility. So once you refuse it, knowing that you're refusing a position of caring for the people, then that identifies that you do not know the person's mind. The people do not know their mind. And if you do not know their mind, then they cannot be granted a position of influence or of importance in any way, anyhow. So in '89, when my mother was still alive and we went to pass the title to Winnie David, who was married to Stephen McCumber here in Ganawagi, thus her name being Winnie McCumber. When she refused it in '89, she pulled herself out of ever being eligible to hold title again. And at the time, there was no other eligible person to hold the title within the Longhouse. And so the titles reverted to the house, which means the house holds the titles until such a time where, if it's council, meeting, ceremony, anything, then from the pool of women, there is the title that is given to the proper titles, the turtle, wolf, and bear. There you have then the women from there to select from that are given the title for the day. Now, as we are matrilineal, the women are the ones who carry the authority. So then from that point, once they have the title for the day, then they establish the male title holders for the day. And this was the practice until, let's see, it must have been 90 or 91. I forget exactly when now, but it was in those early days, given that my mother died in September '89. So 90, 91, it's only a year, a year and a half after she died. The title was then passed on to Maggie Myouw, the late Maggie Myouw. And she held that title for approximately 3 or 4 years until the title was taken back from her because of her ineligibility, her not upholding law. And so from there, then it went to approximately, I'd say it was around 2012 that we had gone back, we had reverted back to the holding of the titles and then giving them out for the day. Up until around 2012, where then there was 2 women in the house, one Carol McGregor, the other Cheyenne Whitebean, or I don't know if she goes by her husband's name. She goes by, okay, Cheyenne Whitebean. And the 2 of them, Cheyenne Whitebean was put in the position of Wolf Clan, and Carol was put in the position of Bear Clan. And they held that position for, I don't know, maybe a couple of years at the most, something like that, until there was an incident of that demanded correction within council. And when the correction took place, the final thing that happened with these 2 final women was that Carol McGregor had said, based on the issue was of contention was with Cheyenne Whitebean, and that the issue was resolved by quite simply saying that the title will not be hers like she's a clan mother. She will be quite simply holding the title under emergency powers, which would mean emergency powers, if anything ever arises, say at 4 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, then when it arises, then she holds that power. But if there's no emergency, then she would not hold the title of clan mother. Because of the violation that was there, she wasn't qualified, wasn't seen as eligible to hold it. And this was affirmed within the council with all the people that were present, even by her husband, who was present in the council. The final words there in that day, and words in action by those two women, the words came from Carol McGregor to say, let's not uphold law. And I says to them, well, you can do that all you want, but you're not going to do it here. You can do it somewhere else. You can go be lawless somewhere else. And so their final action was when she said that, let's not uphold law, then the other one, Cheyenne Whitebean, said in open council, asked the question, who is the most knowledgeable of law here? And nobody answered. I didn't answer. After this point, my father had passed. My father was, no, he wasn't passed yet. But there would be only my father and myself to answer that question. And neither one of us answered it. So her husband answered that question. And her husband said, well, that would be Stuart, referring to me. And then she said, well, she directed the men to lead them from the Longhouse. Now, you could hear those words and not know what it means, but if you are of the Longhouse, then you know what those words mean. This is a legal statement when the women ask the men to lead them away from the Longhouse. So this is an abandonment of the Longhouse, an abandonment of position. So the final two women who were left here, that was, let's see, it was around 2015? 2013, holy crap, that's a long time ago. Yeah, 2013, in that time, they left here in an issue that was pertaining to law that needed correction, and when correction was applied, they refused to have correction. And the correction would have been the exact same emergency power that I hold, that the women themselves had bestowed upon me, the two women in question that we're talking about. So they had bestowed that power upon me, which was viewed as, it's okay. But then when it was to be applied to Cheyenne, then it wasn't viewed as okay. It was something that was not accepted, even when her own husband had responded to her question as to who knows the most about law present, and her own husband said Stuart. But then she turns to her husband to say, well, lead us from the Longhouse then. So this is an exemplification of the women abandoning their place within the Longhouse. And knowing that the Longhouse belongs to the women, then the women abandon their identity, abandon their ability to be able to refer to themselves as the Lifegivers. So this is who I am. This is where we are. Now, this is a very nutshell representation of what has happened to our house, in our house, over the last, basically from '89, as to why currently there are no Ganyangahaga women in this house. There are no Ganyangahaga Lifegivers in the Longhouse. Now, I could say in the Longhouse, as a matter of fact, because Longhouse only exists in one place. It exists for all the people, but it exists only from within law. And for Ganyangahaga especially, we must be within that law to be able to identify who we are, where we are, when we are. And so this is now who I am. I am a person without a physical living clan mother, but I am not without clan mother. As long as law is upheld and abided by, then clan mother is the original mother. It just leaves us that the women of today are have relinquished themselves. They have removed themselves out of the equation. And when we're talking about the Five Nations Longhouse Confederacy, anybody who knows of the Five Nations knows that the Ganyangahaga is the foundation, that there is no council that is considered legal unless all 9 title holders of the Ganyangahaga Nation are present. And so this identifies then that if the Ganyangahaga are not in order, then the rest of the nations are not in order. So this means that, just like the way, like in a reciprocal relationship, you're dependent on the other one, they're dependent on you. So that means, well, you have to keep them alive. You have to feed them. You have to give them water. You have to wash them. You have to do everything for them. And they in turn are supposed to do the same thing for you. This is the reciprocity of the Longhouse between the 2 powers of the life giver and the life protector. But officially, the life givers have pulled out. And that's where we are. And that's who I am. I am the last remaining now within the Ganyangahaga Nation, Etzage Honored Goa. So I am the last one under the only last remaining legal title of Honored Goa. And I am the last descendant of that now. Now, anybody can say, no, you're not. Sure, I'll challenge anybody to challenge me, challenge this on any level. But just like on any issue, in order for somebody to challenge that, they must know of what they are speaking. And they cannot just say, oh, you're wrong. Because where do you ever see a court where that takes place? The prosecutor comes in and says, you're guilty. Oh, judge says, case closed, that's it. No, if somebody says you're charged with this, then you have the right to defend yourself against that person, meaning that person must be able to substantiate in the public arena everything that they are going to say. And so everything that I have just said, I challenge anybody on any level, anywhere, anytime to challenge this, to come forward with any kind of facts or anything to prove or substantiate anything different. And so I stand before the entire Ganyangahaga Nation, the entire Five Nations Longhouse Confederacy. I stand before all the people of Turtle Island to judge this. I don't care what nation, any nation. I'll challenge anybody to judge this. And then to see if it is so or not. And if it is so, then it is a reflection upon your nation, because it speaks of the current reality of all our nations. Okay, so that's who I am. Myouw Wagoa, Gazit Danzadio for you to know. In Ganyangaha, what this means is it means beautiful bird. But when my mother named me this, I was not a beautiful bird. I was a tiny little bird. I was a pretty little bird. So even though you can say beautiful bird, when you're using that terminology of a little baby bird, then that's not a beautiful bird. It's a pretty bird. So that's the name that my mother has given me. I am of the Wolf clan, as we are a matrilineal nation, that I follow my identity, the identity of my mother. That's where my clan comes from. So I am Wolf clan because my mother is Wolf clan. And the title that she held was in the 3 strains of Wolf clan, was the title of Honored Goa. The title of Honored Goa identifies the tree with the furthest reaching branches, the tree that will provide the shelter. It's the tree that is left at the end of the storm. And so that's who I am. That's who we are. That means nothing upon me as to that I am something great or I hold some kind of knowledge. No, it means none of that. It quite simply means the legal status of who I am. And that's it. So now we'll go on.
Thank you. And I want to acknowledge and thank you and the Lifegivers for all of the good that is unfolding thanks to your work, and how grateful I am to be a new member of the Lifegivers Nation and Temporary Fair Plan. So, Moon,
Yes.
welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself? And this is a council, and
Okay, well, thank you. I was born Scott Philip Hayes. I'm the descendant of the title holders of the plumed Serpent Empire. I am 58, a mirror twin, and a survivor of genocide. Without breaking hearts or triggering others, I survived Canada's MK Ultra, MK Monarch, as well as being sex trafficked and silenced. They experimented on me until I was 21 years old. It started at 4. And in the midpoint, they revealed to me who I was. And my family lied. They all lied. They all kept a secret. And my dad threatened them with death because he didn't want our family used anymore. We've been dominated since 1610 by a snake, a black snake. And this black snake's name is Stuart, a descendant of Louis XVI, who is the, I believe, owner of BlackRock. BlackRock owns everything. BlackRock owns everyone. It was a deception, a hostile corporate takeover in 1610 of the Plumed Serpent Trading Post Empire. And my ancestor, Emperor James Patrick Hayes, was murdered on the deck of the Resolute and apparently thrown overboard. With him for a journey to discuss what Europe owed us in trade and commerce and gold, there were 4 Mohawk king chiefs. One of them was Joseph Brant, so honor named. He's also my great-great-grandfather. He died 2 years after in 1612. And the Mohawk people decided to hide the princess, the matriarch, and silenced my family. And I believe that was in their interest of getting along with the satanic forces and Freemasons around us. End of the day, they've destroyed everyone I love. They've found a way to use their media, their influence, to just get away with open, bloody murder, open torture. When I was being used, they always took my blood. And I woke up in a daze drugged out of my mind, terrorized. They were farming me for adrenochrome. And they got away with it. No matter who I turned to, the CBC, a CTV reporter. Anyway, my life was destroyed. I was completely mind wiped every time this happened. And I lived through endless night terrors where my mind and my spirit showed me what they did. And there's no help. Whatever Canada says, Canada's full of shit. It's Canada, not Canada. That's an alien corporation, an alien entity. Jurisdictionally, I represent the bloodline first stakeholder from the first Great Britain. My family is the line of fire. We are descendants of Quetzalcoatl, and we are the oldest inbred bloodline probably in the world. And we're okay, but we're slaves. My father destroyed himself and his health, besides alcohol, and his childhood he could never get over because he was got to by Catholic nuns. My mother was destroyed when her mother was murdered. And my grandfather, the descendant of, in fact, Joseph Brandt, was blamed for the murder and died by Indian suicide with his hands tied behind his back from the cell of the Hamilton jail. Everything I'm trying to show you is very personal. There's no justification for what they've got away with. I've tried for the last 20 years to save our people. I made the Save the World plan that Q took over, and I was deplatformed and silenced and removed from all the search engines but one, the Wayback Machine. I hid my identity. I didn't tell the truth about my identity, as I thought that those who could see and those who could know, those who were not stuck in boxes or narrative paradigms, those who would be intelligent enough to put enough pieces together to realize we are the puzzle. And our people are being used and tortured and murdered every goddamn day. And it's become a fucking video game. Forgive my language. I won't do that again. But it's frustrating to live in Winnipeg for some 20 years, to see the crack epidemic, then the meth epidemic, and then the supposed COVID epidemic. It's a concentration camp. It's Canada's satanic center. It's darkness. It is so evil. I had to, and then when they didn't finish it, I ate that and I drank water. That's what it's about. It's about a sovereign question to the quality of our lives, to why do we need a pirate crew to tell us what governance is. Our women are shying away from leadership when in fact they have the best hearts, the best minds, and can think of all others. That's a rare quality. Few men possess it, and few more utilize it. I'm here as the original stakeholder, heir and successor to Quetzalcoatl's vast fortune that is hidden at the heart of the mystery school and all that stuff that they shoved down my throat. I just want the land returned, the land of the law restored, jurisdictional boundaries of alien subject matter jurisdiction exhausted and removed. Original territorial boundaries apply. Custom and traditions will have to be revised. I made the order to legalize cannabis. We needed a product. We needed something. I have absolutely no involvement in the matter. I also saw our trade in smokes. We're getting poisoned by the government tobacco, which is adding 80 different known carcinogenic toxins so that you don't cough, apparently. Here's our tobacco. This is Mohawk tobacco. And it's made in a First Nations territory, and it's been contaminated with government tobacco. It used to be all blonde. Now it's brown. Everything that we had is gone. Everything that they have made for us is not ours. So I would only ask the clan mothers to consider my offer to the mutual recognition of the original venue, to the restoration of our original boundaries, to the care, control, and say over and above the corporations occupying our lands. It's heartbreaking because it's cost me everything. Just to say that to you, having been poisoned, tortured, and Canadians stood by. And Americans stood by, and they knew because they followed me everywhere. I've been stalked by RCMP, plainclothes agents for my whole damn life. It must be real. I have DNA. My teeth are falling out because of heavy metal poisoning, but I do have a very nice intact molar that popped out for some reason. And I'll put that up for DNA anytime. I've already had my DNA done by the MK Ultra program, and they told me who I was. I know who I am. And I can only hope that some of you have a clue of anything that I'm saying.
The atrocities are unbelievable. I'm not sure if the conversation that I hoped that we were going to have, you know, I think I was under the impression that that you're also that you're Mohawk, and that I mean, it appears you are, but did you have any direct thoughts on what Longhouse, Stuart, Myouw had said? I think he gave a very detailed and clear and lawful explanation of how the Kanyenke Hake Longhouse is proceeding properly.
I wish them full power. But I would correct a few matters. When you're talking law, it's land authorizing women. It's land, air, water. When you're talking about legal, that's what came on the ship that built the prisons that we reside in. End of the day, I would watch the words that I would use and make very clear when terms are in corporate terms, That's not lawful terms. It's so hard to see. I've traveled the land. I've seen so many reserves, no running water, no inside toilets, water tanks with fluoride. It's just disgusting. I don't know how to help without just giving my authorization for the restoration. I can't keep my head up over these waves of ocean of fictions that they keep throwing at us as who we have to prove who we are, how we have to go about it. If you don't know, and most don't, the Mohawks means rattlesnakes. Rattlesnakes were the priest class of the Mayans. The Mayans have a characteristic blood type, O negative, and so do Neanderthals, which is a double extinction, if you know what I mean. Because Neanderthals are extinct, so are the rights of the Neanderthal, the first world people, all the first world law, all of it's gone. Destroyed by colonial and corporate and Catholic narratives. But what we had and what we have left over is so fundamentally important to the world right now. They can't see through our eyes. They can't hear or feel us. We're apparently ghosts. But at the end of the day, they will need us. Enough has happened in the world that those who were asleep are waking up very quickly, because it's not what we think it is. It's not what they say it is, and it will never be whatever they want it to be. I mean, I want to see Mr. Gates return all of that land he bought, that farmland, because he didn't buy anything. The land was never fee simple. That was a condition of gold systems in Europe, that you had to trade a value for a value. So deeds should become leases, and discussing their stay with us and helping us to bring our clan mothers together and begin something new. Because their way is the dark road. We've left that over our shoulder. The dark ages are over, and they need people with hearts greater than their own to take them into the light and show them what they aren't. Because they aren't owners. They're profiteers. And they're rogues. And at the same time as they wave their flags, they forget that my red and white feathered serpent has a white background and a red cross. It's Quetzalcoatl's cross for the first Briton and for the Americus Trading Post Empire. This was ours. We had international agreements called Peace and Friendship for the Trade and Commerce Treaties, where we proceeded in love, we proceeded in caring, we fed the world 3 times. They kept the seeds, they grew it themselves. Our business was cut in half. We had an incredible, ancient, pre-flood commerce, trade and commerce. I want to see that restored before I die. I want to see the women stand up and take their rightful place, and these bad persons removed, every single one of them, and given a choice. You walk in beauty with us, you stop hurting the land, the people, or you leave. And we have slave ships. We can send you over and you can row there if you wish. But that's my perspective. I am just waiting and suffering in poverty, being silenced, and just waiting for the clan mothers to get together, do an authorization, a restoration, and then maybe I can retire and go fishing. Wouldn't that be something?
Thank you,
Anyway,
Moon.
that's my words to you.
Thank you, Moon. I'm going to ask Longhouse Stuart Myouw if you would please address anything that you would care to.
Very good. Okay, I really don't know what is being discussed here. There's a lot of stuff that is being said that's scattered. It sounds like stuff from across the Great Waters mixed with stuff over here. A lot of mixing of so-called laws from the non-native world and what laws are here. So I really don't know what's being discussed. I think what really needs to be established here first is who's at the table. I heard you identify yourself, but I don't know any of the things of which you identified. So I'll ask you again, if you can, again, to identify to me, what nation are you from? What's your nation here in Turtle Island, and what clan are you?
Myouw.
What?
Moon?
It's just, well, I'll wait. You there?
The
Yes.
internet's cutting in and out.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, our internet connection is very unstable.
Oh, okay. My question to you was, in order for me to understand first who I'm sitting at the table with, how you introduced yourself, I am not familiar with any of those things. I know
Yeah.
I know that a lot of the things that you mentioned are not of Turtle Island. So I'd like you to identify what nation you are from here and what's your clan.
Okay, my mother's a Turtle Clan. And I was born beside a 1956 Chevy on the boundary between Oswego and Brantford before midnight.
So your mother being a Turtle Clan, she's from Grand River then?
Yes, she's actually her one grandmother is Nottoway, and she's actually my father's cousin. So how that worked out, I'm not quite sure. It's because my father's a Hayes, which is a bloodline, and then I can't pronounce his name without sounding stupid, but Joseph Brant I was the second who replaced James Patrick Hayes. I'm descended from both lines. My matrilineal lines are the same.
These are Mohawks.
And at the end of the day, my family is Mayan. We're white. We're light complexioned. And, well, we turn red. I've been recognized in several different areas. They know who I am, and I'm not surprised you don't. As I said, I was silenced. Those people that I talked to at Oswego didn't have my interests at heart. There was a bunch of secrets around me, and no one treated me well. When I went out west, I was given the name, and it's long, and I can't say it in Coast Salish or Interior Salish, but it means the one who came before who helped, even though he was treated badly, in a dire time returns to the people. Will we continue to treat him badly? So that was how they introduced me as a descendant of Brant and of Hayes. So at the end of the day, between what I've been shown and who I am, I just comprehend what is lawful from legal, what is a claim to what is a policy. And I've really tried to get people to communicate and see that it's our way that's going to heal this. We just have to get past the identity crisis we're all suffering because we don't know who we are. Most of us don't know what we are. And to continue to call our land by names that don't apply. Anyway, who I am, I'm the heir and successor to the Plume Serpent Empire. Mohawks are my relations. Mayans are my relations. I'm inbred. Call me evil. I was Satanized, satanically ritualized, but it didn't stick. So I've had a lot of problems because people think I'm this demon because I use big words. Well, I'd like to go home. I am in exile, if you didn't notice, and if you didn't know. And I was rescued with a friend's help and brought up here to Alberta, and I'm in the mountains right now. And that is apparently an ending to the prophecy about me. There's a red and white feathered serpent prophecy, can be found online. I quite frankly think it's a CIA thing. But at the end of the day, I have survived. I'm not nice, I'm not pretty, but I am here to do the right, by the right, with the right, to the right. It's your land. It's not theirs. So I'm not going to stand by. I've done what I can. I put in a lawful institution by the direction of the clan mothers that I was working with at the time. And it was a fictional paper that based the truth, because you're not allowed to tell the truth. So I told the truth. I put it into the office of the corporations in 2010. I signed it in purple ink and gold ink, or gold and green ink. I can't remember, gold, I think. And put a drop of blood to seal it. And this is my seal. At the end of the day, nothing happened. Or did it? Washington's closed down. People are being arrested. Things are happening, and we don't know why. But here it is. We keep spinning around in the sovereignty question, trying to learn. And we just have to get together, recognize each other for who we are. Any question of it, boy, we've got companies that can test our DNA. I'm totally open to that.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
Okay, for me to understand, like I said, we're having a good discussion here. There's some things that I'm catching. There's a lot of things that I disagree with. There's a lot of things that I've never heard of. For instance, for me to know who you are, I don't know what this blue serpent, what is it you called it? What's the blue serpent people or blue serpent something? What is that? Where is that from?
I believe he was saying it's from South America, Mayan.
It didn't sound like that. It sounded like a separate thing, and then he gave reference to Mayan. What is the blue serpent thing?
It was the plumed serpent. And he's referencing the ancient trade empire of the Americas, North and South. That includes you. Yes, I can see you're not aware of it.
Yeah.
If you look around the equator, 2 degrees north and 2 degrees south, all those ancient monoliths, you know, all the stone carvings, thousands and thousands and thousands of years old, that have the serpents on them, that was a trading empire.
Yeah.
That's its emblem. That's why you find it on all these ancient megalithic stone structures. Your peoples are a lot older and have a lot more ancient history than you're aware of, Stuart. That's the only problem at the moment.
Okay, right now, I don't know who I'm talking to. There's apparently two people that are on that side of the conversation. There's the person that I asked a question to about who is the blue serpent plume or whatever. And then somebody else answered that I haven't seen yet, so I don't know.
Serpent Empire, yes.
But there was one person,
Niaki Humiskizik Napu.
there is one person that introduced themselves, and that's the person I was asking, but then somebody else who I don't even know who's in the conversation now.
Would you introduce yourself, please, Eagle?
Yes, I'd be more than welcome to. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Stuart. I totally agree with your statements on law and how to conduct proper protocols and everything. What you were saying is bang on. I am Kihum Miskizik Napu, which in a loose translation into the English would be the Golden Eagle Eye Man.
Okay, but wait a minute. You just said a loose translation into the English, but I'm picking up that you yourself are English.
That's the language. Yes, that's where I was raised. I was born over here. And as I said, a loose translation into the English language is because you cannot translate anything from any tribal language into English correctly, can you? Because your language is a multiple thought concept language. The English language is a singular thought concept language that's reasoned in the compartmentive and then spoken in duality. So there can only ever be a loose translation into English.
Okay, this conversation, very good. It's getting somewhere. This part of the conversation, it's a little diversion from where we were, but I'd like to go down this path further. But if we go further, then we're going to get away from the original things that were there that are not still not clear to me. You had said that you are the heir to the what is it, the purple serpent?
Wow.
I'm sorry, I can't remember all the things that you said, but you said you're the heir to it. Okay, but then you identify also that your mother is a Turtle Clan from Brantford. So
No, I didn't say Brantford.
well, you said you were born in Brantford. Yeah.
No, that's where we were delivered after a meeting with the clan mothers, and things did not go well, and my parents left and my mother went into labor.
Okay. You see, for me to understand who's on the other side of the table, you have to tell me. I can't, it shouldn't be left to me to pull it out of you to deduce this. Because when you say that you were born by at Brantford, I automatically respond in deducing that then you descend from Grand River. But when you said Nottoway, then we're not talking about a Turtle Clan of the Five Nations. You're talking about a Anishinaabe, because I don't know any Nottoways within the Six Nations that they call them at Grand River. So if you are of Nottoway, then that's Anishinaabe.
No, it's not. Nottoway is actually an Iroquois speaker people. There's very few of them left, and they're on state side. Okay, they are descendants, no different than the Mohawk, of the Mayan Empire.
Oh, okay. All right. So then let's establish this, that you don't have a ground base here then.
No, I don't.
Okay. All right.
I've been stripped of everything. I mean, did you not hear what I said?
Yes, I heard everything. And this is what I'm
Okay,
responding to you, is that there's a lot of it that is not understandable. I have to extract out of it.
well, then do it.
That's what I'm doing. That's the reason for me asking you these questions, because originally what you put out there is a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't connect.
That's because of assimilation. Did you know that all the Iroquois speakers, that Iroquois means serpent?
No, that's not what it means.
What's it mean?
First off, Iroquois does not mean anything. This is not us. It doesn't come from us. This is why what I'm saying, that if you're going to say you're on that side of the table, but you're mixing up things that come from
No.
across the great waters and trying to connect them with things here, well, those things aren't going to fly with me. They're not going to work.
Okay, look, I think that I've probably made a mistake. That your experience seems very centered and very limited to the scope of perhaps of your duties.
Yeah, you're probably right. I am not on the same level of intellect
No.
as, that's for sure.
I've had to figure it all out. I'm just impatient because other people can't seem to see that there's something very, very wrong around us. So forgive me if I'm impatient. But what I comprehend and what I've been told and what I've been shown is far more than most people. Plus, I had a university library and I learned how not to be. So at the end of the day, I probably should say goodbye right now because this is causing me to have an anxiety attack. It's not about me. It's not about you. Are you? It's about all of us. We've all suffered the same damn genocide, only we've come at it from different angles, and we've all been shown and lied to differently. Like here, how many people do you know pronounce the letter H as H?
Not very many.
Not very many, eh? Well, if you come west of the Seven Fires, sorry, my mouth is very dry. If you come west of the Narrows, sorry, I forgot what I was saying.
West of the Seven Fires.
Yes, when you come across the Narrows, that's the place where the Seven Fires were, where the Mohawks sat down with the Sioux and they divided up the trade and commerce and decided never to go to war again because they lived in peace and were equals, and they would act and stand up for the other in times of war. All of those things.
Where is that?
The Narrows is actually in Manitoba. We're told it's in Northern Ontario. When you do the research, you end up finding out that there's a lot of redirection, misdirection, and outright lies to continue to keep us stewing and looking for the right answers, looking for that thing inside us that they took, that spark. Anyway, I think if it came down to who I am the one who will authorize what needs to be done because I have the bloodline. Any contest of that matter, I am totally open, totally approachable, and will provide my DNA. And that's that. I can't answer questions now. Just talking about what I've survived, what we're going through, and that there's no easy answers. It's making my heart palpitate. Anyway, I have Lyme's disease and I must let you go. Tim? Yes, yours.
Very good.
Thank you. One moment. Eagle, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
All right. Is there, Eagle is the person who introduced us to Moon, and he is, I had wanted Stuart to introduce you. To my understanding, Eagle is adopted Nehewak, and I wanted to have some discussion about Musa, Meredith Quinn, who was taught about matriarchal sovereignty from the perspective of having been the grandson of the last great matriarch of the Dakota Empire. And I thank everyone for joining us, and thank you.
Okay, I don't know what that means, if that means we're done or what.
No.
I'll throw this up there. There's a lot of stuff that I'm not understanding here, that I'm not grasping, but I'll present this out there for all to know. Here in Turtle Island, there will be no misrepresentation. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen around me. I'm not going to allow it. I'm not going to allow people who are not of the bloodlines, who do not have the birthright, to act like as if they represent, like as if they are the authority. That's not going to happen with me. Now, if somebody wants to present and then say, I'm open for questions, but then pull themselves out of the questioning, out of the debate, then what's the purpose? What is the intent here? What I am seeing is that there's a lot of things here that are all of a sudden being incorporated into the native world, like as if we are connected to things of ancient treaties or whatever took place in Europe. No, we are not. We have nothing to do with those things. We are not going to be represented here in Turtle Island by any of those things. Those things can be their old relations. That's fine. Whatever the hell that is, it's got no place here. No place whatsoever. And to identify that there is an authority. Yes, there is an authority, but like with us, the authority is not lying within a person. The authority is lying within law. And law is the council fire of the nation. And the council fire of the nation brings forward truth. No one can come forward into a council fire and misrepresent something. This is why I'll say to everybody, be weary of when you outright ask a person to identify who they are, and they do not, but they identify that I've been to this place and to that place, and in this place they gave me a name, and in that place they named me this other thing, and then now I'm over here. When you see this, this is a person who is not identifying their root. And a person who has to identify that they're here and there, then that's basically like name dropping. Why? Why does this take place? I've been in many places in my lifetime. When I go to identify myself, I do not say, I walked across the country in this year and I met this person and they gave me this name and I spent a lot of time in Arizona. So what does that have to do with me identifying with who I am? There is confusion here. I am not a part of the confusion. I presented who I am beyond a shadow of a doubt, where anybody could then ask questions based on that, what was presented. Anybody can follow my family tree. Right now, what was presented to me, the way that it was presented, I can deduce that I know there are no Nottaways in Grand River. If there are, they have married in from Anishinaabe. I know Nottaway is Anishinaabe. Now, if there is Nottaways on the state side, then it's good to say that, but what the hell is the state side? That means nothing to me. If there are Nottaways somewhere else other than Grand River, then identify where they are. I am very clear in my discourse where anybody can present any question to me on anything about when I'm identifying who I am, where I am from, what my identity is. I do not beat around the bush. I am very clear. And so I'll say to everybody, be weary of people who do not present themselves in that way. If they do not, then they are not who they say they are. Now for here, I'm not going to speculate as to what's going on, but I will say this. My goodness. There is a lot of false prophets floating around. Everybody knows this, and regardless of what society you are raised in. You could be on the other side of it. You could be in Ukraine right now, and you know there's a lot of false prophets as those who are presenting themselves as Ukraine, as representing the truth of Ukraine. Because right now, even there, the people who are saying they represent are not representing the truth of what it actually is. And so to anyone to be able to make any kind of claim, as I can do that also, but I have not done that. I put it forward so that anybody can, tear me down. And the reality is that, no, we don't have to, we're not looking for validity. I don't give a damn about if anybody believes who I am. But they have full opportunity in my presentation, in my discourse, to be able to identify and then to say, no, that's not true over there. But here, I just don't know what it is and why it is. But outright tell everybody, we are not associated with anything other than the traditional councils of each nation, of the original people. And that is not influenced in by any European in any way whatsoever. And there is never a European that is going to represent it in any way. And it is not a European's place to be speaking of it. When you get two people in the same place, and if you are European, step back and let them discuss. It is not any European's place. So, for any interaction with the Longhouse, understand it is within law. And if a person can say, well, what's the law of the Longhouse? Well, then just think of what's the law of common sense, common decency, fairness, goodness, all of that stuff. And then this is how it should be done to if I brought somebody to a council, a discourse, I would set up the stage. I would identify, this is why I brought this person here, this is why I brought this person here. And then if I see that as the moderator, that this person isn't even living up to what their self-identification is supposed to be, then I, as the moderator, would have to step in and identify this and have it corrected, because if not, then I, as the moderator, am allowing a corruption. Now, I'm not pointing out, Lisa, that you are a corruption here. I am pointing out that something is out of control here.
Yes.
People are not in control of what is happening here. And this is because there is a lot of loose, spotty information. And when there's a lot of loose, spotty information and stuff like this is given and says, again, the example, where are you from? Oh, well, I was born here, but I was over here, then I'm over there, and I was named this, and I was named that. This is how you get confusion into the people, where, you're just going on and on, like you're leaving the people in awe. No, they're not in awe. They're just wondering, how come you're not answering the question? Why is it a politician's answer? Why is it not? This is who I am, and this is where I am from. So,
Well, quick answer to that then. Do you know what MK Ultra was, Stuart?
well, okay, I heard MK Ultra as much as anybody else. What you see information floating around the internet as far as programs from the CIA. As far as that goes, that's all I know.
All right, so you don't know what it entailed.
No.
I don't
right.
know though. I don't know though, Eagle, whether that really
Well, it pertains to,
matters.
it matters very much in regards to answering Stuart's postulations.
I don't mind. Let's go. Let's go.
Well, yes, because you're saying these things, and I'm in agreement with a lot of what you're saying, but I also understand the background and the reason why. And apparently, obviously, you do not, or you wouldn't be saying the things that you were saying.
Do not what?
Reason I asked you that is
Do not
because
what? You said a statement right now.
in
Obviously,
ignorance, you don't know what you're talking about, Stuart. You just admitted you don't know what was entailed under the MK Ultra. And I'm not trying to be ignorant. I'm not trying to be argumentative. I'm just pointing out the fact you admitted you don't know what happened under it. And if you don't know what happened under it and what those people were subjected to, then you have no idea of their mental state of mind and how it's affected them over life.
no, I don't. And I don't know anything of the MK Ultra. I'm not gonna try to profess that I do. But when
Right,
we
that's all I'm pointing out, right? That the actual effects of that on all the kids that they were subject to is more than horrific, man. Like, it's
what is that?
unreal.
What does this have to do with us being here? From what I understood, that we were here to talk about matrilineality. We are here
Yes,
to talk about the original peoples in relation to matrilineality. So what has this got to do with what we're supposed to be here talking about?
well, it's in relating and answering to your question about what you were saying about identifying yourself and being very specific. He did identify himself. Like you, when I first heard it, it was all new to me. I researched it, read it, and you can research it. The family bloodlines, he talks about Hayes and what have you, is all there in the history books. But anyway, specific to the matrilineal line, it's not. Which
No.
is why I was going to ask you, like you said, you interested in taking the conversation to where we were going there earlier. Okay, what like when you said like a European to step away, I agree, but I also define a European. I know you can be a full-blooded Indian and be a European.
Yes.
You walk into a courtroom, see that Indian judge sitting there. That's no fucking Indian. Pardon my French. That's a
Okay.
white man. Because if he's, which I'm sure resonates with you, because that is what exactly like what you're talking about from a point of law perspective. And bringing that up is because some people would hear my accent and think of me as a European. But I'm not a European. I am a savage. And most definitely not a person. I mean, knowing what a person is, you'd have to be an imbecile to claim to be one, actually. But anyway, there's a good reason you use the word savage, because it's not a derogatory term. It's the correct legal term for a sovereign Indian. Sovereign meaning having a head clan mother of a clan. Savage comes from the word silvictus. Silvictus means those who live amongst the trees. And if you're living amongst the trees, you're living under natural law, which is when you look at the animal kingdom, queen bee, queen ant, horses, elephants all have head matriarchs. All the animal kingdoms have head matriarchs, and we are animals. And if you're living amongst the trees and you have a head matriarch, then you are a savage. That's why they used to call the Indians savages. Not because it was a derogatory term, but because at that time they were still clans and tribes. They were savages. They had head clan mothers. They don't call them that now because most of them are, as I'm sure you're aware, prisoner of war Indians on reservations, concentration camps. But the stuff I'm talking to you about is what I learned from an old Dakota Indian. Now, his white man name was Meredith Quinn. He's not a European. He's dead now, the late Meredith Quinn. But he was an international legal advisor for the Iroquois Confederacy. He was registered at the United Nations as such, and he was there. I think he took the chiefs from there in 72, Stuart. And he was He tells a story when he was at the United Nations to speak before the council, you have to be credentialed. So he was up in the law department getting his credentials. And while he was up there, somebody rushed his chiefs through the into the convention and used up their one time that you have to bring up whatever it is you're there to bring up, kind of thing. Getting him to ask about something else, civil rights or something, you know, not pertaining to the matter that he was going to bring up. So they kind of like pulled a fast one on him because they ran his chiefs through, used up their opportunity while he was still up in the law department getting his credentials to be able to speak in front of the council. But anyway, he was Dakota. His grandmother, Agnes Strikes Hard. She was the last head clan mother of the Dakota Empire. She was recognized by the United States government as a head clan mother for the Dakota. He points out a lot of the different things. You know, the Sisseton-Wofferton Reservation? I think that's what it's called, Sisseton-Wofferton or something like that. Reservation down in the States, Dakota. That's the reserve anyway he was raised on. His grandmother had a big 2-story house, cars, because whatever she commanded the United States government to do, kind of thing, they did, which is exactly what you were talking about earlier. Law, head clan mothers. Well, this was a head clan mother, and she was recognized as such, and they did as she told them to do. That's law. The point of that is, though, he was chosen by his grandmother as the one that the knowledge was passed on to. You know, as a child, he was taught all the ancient knowledges, sciences, Stuart, the ancient. You understand what I'm saying? I'm talking the real ancient knowledges to the sciences. Like, this man was, to say smart is an understatement. But it was he was taught the ancient by the ancient, you know, when the Indian religion went underground on the reserves across the states and things because it was outlawed, that kind of stuff. Like he talks about, I think it was 1936, there was a ceremony that hadn't been done for quite a long time, like on his reservation. And it's how most of the reserve were prisoner of war Indians, but you had the small minority that was still practicing the ancient religion. And anyway, they were having a ceremony that hadn't been done in a while. And the Indian band agents, you know, the white Indians turned up, and the BNA, the BIA police turned up, rounded them all up, sort of thing, burnt the buffalo teepees that were hundreds, you know, all of that stuff, hundreds of years old, even the items and things, you know, the drums, rattles, stuff like that, because they caught him doing this ceremony. But as a kid, he was describing that. All I'm pointing out is the stuff that I teach is exactly what you're saying. It's law. What constitutes law? It's clan mothers. But the foundation for it as well, like, you can draw it from nature. That's why it is the supreme law of the land. If you look in nature, that's what you find. The women rule. So nobody can argue that that is the creator's system of government, because that's what you find in creation. Thus, it is the supreme law of the land, because there's nothing higher than the creator, is there? Their God most certainly isn't.
I'd like to throw this out there.
But anyway, that's just an introduction as to what I learned.
A lot of stuff that I'd like to respond on that, but we had only until 4 o'clock. We have another Moon Teachings event at 4 o'clock that we have to do with the people of the South. So that means we're going to have to leave here very soon. We had originally informed you, Lisa, that we'd have to leave like about 1:45. And given the fact that there was a mix-up, it gives us a lot less time in which to discuss.
Yes, I'm sorry.
And we didn't even discuss matrilineal here yet today. So this is what I was under the impression we were going to discuss, the real world application of it, where it stands right now within our nations. But I can't talk that with anybody because there's nobody in the nation on that side of this conversation. You could be carrying knowledge from anybody. It's fine. That's perfect. But we know how clan mother works. Clan mother works through clan, through birthright, which is polarity. And if a person isn't of that polarity, they do not have the birthright. They don't have the ability to represent on those levels. So we can't have that conversation here today. But I have no problem having the conversation to the degree of what we are, but we just to have it known, then we're just talking in general about stuff. We're not talking about the matrilineal.
Yes.
But now I would say that I have no problem if yous are willing to come back and to do this again, but let it be known, I ain't gonna put up with any misrepresentations by anyone. It's not gonna fly by me. Maybe other people allow it, they accept it, maybe they're in awe of it, but not me. I'm not. So if we want to get a discussion on matrilineal going, then if there is nobody on that side, then let's just say that it's open to for public debate, questions. I know there's people present. I know there's at least one person present who from within the Ganyagahaga Nation would be able to address the things that I had said. So before we go, I don't know if that's okay for you. Is there anybody present who has any question or any statement to reiterate the position that I had put forward when I had identified myself?
Thank you so much, Stuart, for your excellent assistance in essentially co-hosting this. And I apologize. And thank you. And I just want to say, before anyone else, Kelly has had her hand up for quite a while, and I wanted to invite Kelly to speak.
Well, I would like to say that if there is a speaker from the Stuart, Kanagiaga Nation, I would rather that person speak. And then maybe if we have this conversation again, I would like to bring into what I've witnessed personally of Meredith Quinn speak and my concern that there's nobody from that nation actually speaking. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, first, okay, just to make this easy, the person that I'm referring to, the only one who would be that I see that's present, that would be in that conversation would be Gawani Yosta. Now, I'm not sure who that is, but I'm guessing she's from Akwesasne. Okay, so this is what I'm saying right now. If you have any questions or anything on what we had presented, what I had presented in identifying myself, then now is the time. If not, you don't have to if you're not comfortable with asking any question. Or even if you wanted to say, you're full of crap, Stuart.
Sego Savaguego, Governor Stallinger, so Mogatahiuni, Onalego, Gitla Dugget, and Akozasne, Gidlo. I got on today to just to you know, find out what's going on out there. You know, I'm at a point in my learning where I'm seeing beyond. I'm seeing beyond our you know, like what they told us, what we've been taught. And so I'm open, you know, I'm open to hearing some of these things because you know, for a second there, I understood what that man was talking about. I could understand. I could see where he was coming from. I've learned about those things that he talked about, and it's real. You know, this is my first time having interactions with all of you, except for Stuart. It's been a long time. I'm trying to figure out beyond Ganyangahaga who I am, because I know that we go further. And you know, some of those things he talked about made sense. It doesn't mean that we should go running over there, you know, but I don't have anything to counteract what you had said though, Stuart, as far as who you are and all of that. So that's all for now, you know, go.
Yeah, we'll go on. Yeah. Anyways, just by seeing your name written there, I had deduced Akwesasne. As soon as I heard you talking, anybody who knows our people, you could tell. That person's from Ganawagi. That person's from Akwesasne. Even the little variant, you can tell, you can detect it, pick it up. That little roll of the R into an L, well, they sound similar, Akwesasne and Grand River, but you can detect, you can tell Grand River easily separated from Akwesasne. So this is just to identify that there are things that the people know. There is like a natural knowledge the people are born with, like a baseline of knowledge. And that when we encounter something that goes outside of that baseline of knowledge, this is where it's easy. Like it's almost like as if our people have an automatic access to an unlimited library, that we can access that volume of books without even having to go and read them. It's like it's automatically there in us to be able to know, Akwesasne. Not that I had to hear the last name, and even that your name. Hey, that's a common name. I mean, well, it's not that common, but it's common in each of the territories. It could have very easily have been someone here in Ganawagi that I was unaware of. But like I said, as soon as I see your name, Akwesasne, you confirm it, Akwesasne. So this is just to show the other people who are present with us here that there are things that we automatically know. It's not something that we have to go to school for, or that has to be built up even over time, like to say you have years under your belt. Yes, that gives you knowledge also. But we are born with things because unlike other societies, unlike the non-native society, our knowledge is a continuum. It's not this generation all of a sudden has to relearn, reinvent the wheel of what the last generation had to do, because that's what has to happen in the non-native world. In order for the non-native world to get to the point of where nuclear power is just bulldozed over the people, this is because the people lose collective knowledge. It has been lost. But here is a prime example. Hidden in just the way I could detect that this person is from Akwesasne. Here's a prime example for the rest of you to see that this is not something that is a myth, or the natives work on some other energy or whatever. No, this is how it works. We don't have to have in certain cases, like say a list of qualifications to say, that's what, to make the connections. It's already there within us naturally on the basic foundational level. So we all have an interface, and not just of the Ganyangahaga and not just of the 5 nations, but with the peoples all throughout Turtle Island. And I'll tell you right now that there is a big misconception that is taking place within the people, a misconception of a corruption of genocidal academia to put lies into the minds of our children of false beliefs, to have them falsely believing that this thing is ours, that we did this or we were connected to that. No, It's not like that. Our people have to go back, revert back to our traditional councils, revert back, get away from the false man-made religions, false man-made education, false man-made political, social structures, all of that. Once you have all of these corruptions separated, pulled out of you, then we will have a proper perception. But until we are there, or until the individual is there in their journey, then they have a lot of influences from school. Hey, what were you taught in school? You know what I was taught? To graduate from kindergarten, I had to learn 10 white man's nursery rhymes. You know what? I still have those nursery rhymes in my mind. Now just think, if I did not have the teachings of the Longhouse, those nursery rhymes would be the primary foundation of my knowledge. And from there, just like the fantasy world that the non-native people live in, all of their foundational knowledge is rooted in fantasy. Teaching their children lies constantly. From Christmas to the Easter Bunny, to the Tooth Fairy, to everything else. To their children ending up having to realize that, hey, my parents were liars. All they did was lie to me. Well, we don't do that. We don't lie to our kids. And I do not allow misrepresentations to go into the minds of my children or into the minds of the people of the Longhouse. I don't allow it. So this could be easily up for debate for anybody. I could be 100% wrong in what I am saying, but you must substantiate. You cannot just say you're wrong and turn away. This is what our people go Myouw. Isn't this the way of our people, that every division, it's promoted after that? Like, keep the division. No division is ever healed. This is the new way of our people. And so think of that. What kind of mentality do those people have? If you can have within one community, if you can have 2 so-called longhouses, 3 so-called longhouses, it's impossible to have 2 longhouses in the same community unless they are all interconnected. But if they are 2 separate longhouses because of division, then you know there is no longhouse. Because anybody who claims to be longhouse after a division, everybody in that longhouse is supposed to be working to heal the division. This is confirmation that not only is the people completely outside of the circle of law, they just don't know who they are anymore and what their true power is. Okay, anyways, I hate to say that we got to pull out of this, but we have to pull out of this right now. We got kids waiting to go into the moon teachings. If yous are still going on, I would say if yous are ending, I would say come and join us in the moon teachings, because this is going to be more of an understanding to what we're talking about, what we talked
Yes.
about.
Thank you, Stuart. I have a request from Janet Tianet. She says she's Kanyen Keha, and so I'm going to ask her to speak, and we will wrap up. And thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna have.
You in the moon teachings. Thank you so much,
Listen,
Stuart.
I want to just say something real quick, and then we could leave it at that. And I ask, please, can we extend this conversation? Because now we're stepping into territory, Stuart, and I've known you for a long time, but I've got some things to say, and I've been holding back for quite a few years. And I say this out of respect. I say this out of Guyana Rasa Kanagoa.
Say it right
Okay.
now, Janet. Say it right now.
No, because you're cutting me off because you got to go somewhere else.
I'm telling you
So
to say.
I think the conversation should be extended,
I'm
okay?
ready to receive it right now. Don't waste.
Okay, wait, because it goes beyond just a statement, but I'll make a general statement. And general statement is this: you said there was only one person here other than you who who is Ganyanke Haga, okay, that could actually say anything, okay? My mother is from Akwesasne and from Ganawaki. So what does that make me? You just disqualified me, and you're just a man. You're not the law. And Guyana Rasadas Ganagoa is more than law. It is a way. It is a way. It is based on sustainability, 7 generations, and consensus is amongst the Ganyankahaga people. And I don't feel like I have consensus because I don't even get recognized unless it's a placation. I don't want to be placated to being Ganyankehaga when it suits somebody's needs. My mother told me, and she is a person of brown color, that we are human beings. So with that, in conclusion, I wish we could have further discussion because this is really important. I am from Akwesasne, not because I didn't, people say I'm not from there because I didn't grow up there. But I am, my DNA, whether I'm so light because my dad is white, my mom is native, my intuition, my instincts, my DNA, my dominant gene is Ganyankehaga. I have fought this all my life, and I have been put down physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually by the native people as much as I have been by the CIA, the fucking feds, excuse my language. Excuse my language, I don't like to do that, but you have no idea what I've been through. And only to be pushed back into colonization, okay? And I went up to Longhouse, so-called in Akwesasne, last fall, only to be told that I'm not from here to take a hike. But yet my mother's roots are there. My grandmother, according to one lady I spoke to in my search, she says it's very possible my grandmother put my umbilical cord up there, which I don't think that's true, but that's my pull. Whether I live in Akwesasne physically or anywhere in the northeastern territory of the Ganyankehaga, that is in my bones. And I'm being denied every which way, and I resent that.
Okay, all right, I'll respond to that. First off, I'll tell you that you've been involved in other Zooms with us, and you hear me saying all the time that I can't see who's there because it's a little screen, and as you know, on the Zooms, they're all small, and I'm pretty sure you know that even to see it normally, I have to wear glasses. I'm pretty sure you know that. So when I'm looking there, I don't see your name. I can look now with the glasses and I can say, oh, you're on there differently. You're identifying yourself differently than what you usually do. So I don't recognize you there, the writing. Your face isn't there. You got just your name there, and it's not the normal name that you usually have. So you know what? I didn't recognize you there. But I recognize a Mohawk name. Yes, that's very recognizable. But let's understand what you said to me. You started off saying that you've had things to say to me for a couple of years. But the thing that you give reference to is a judgment call that I just made right here in this discussion. And the judgment call that I made in this discussion, it offends you because you didn't know. You didn't know what I just told you, that I did not see your name. I did not know that you were here. So no, it's not the way that you are saying. I can point out to you many times, Janet, when I was more than accommodating, bending over backwards to accommodate specifically you. And there is enough people present here and on the Zoom who could verify that. So let's just understand here that we are talking about something that is very emotional for all of us. Now, what we have to do is focus. What emotion is it? What emotion is it inside of us? And are we directing it to the right place, or are we misdirecting it? I'll say to you right now, Janet, that what you just said in the tone that you did, you misdirected that to me. It does not apply to me. Because once I identified it, your perception was that I overlooked you, but once I identified it, I can't see you, and it's legitimate that you did not write your name the way you usually do. If I look at the screen and I see names, your name is usually short like this, Janet. It's not a 2-word name, and there's not a slash in between it. I've never seen it like that before. Okay, so is it understandable to you now why what just took place, that it's not the way that you perceived it?
Okay, what I will say to that is if what you're saying is true, then I apologize. But I would like to say one thing. My name is Janet, and sometimes I go into the sessions, I put Janet/2row, because sometimes I go to non-native webinars and I want them to know, they'll say, well, what does that mean? 2row, like, is that your last name? So I do that to spread the news, tell them what the 2row is. However, that being said, I'll put my name Janet / Now you do a Mohawk language class every Saturday night. Okay. So if you see the way I wrote the name next to Janet, which is the English, you would know that that's Janet in Mohawk. I'm trying to spell out the letters. So that's why I thought you knew I was there, especially when, you could see the other lady, but why couldn't you see me? And that's what my feeling was. I don't know necessarily when you can or cannot see the names, okay? And because I'm not there, so I don't know what your screen looks like. I know that if I want to find out who's in the Zoom, I just go in and, I press a button and it says participants, and that tells me who's there. So with that being said, that was why I felt, ostracized, so to speak. And so I apologize if I misunderstood that you didn't see my name. And, and I apologize to everybody because I cursed, but this is a very, very severe topic for me. And I can't tell you how much I watched my brother suffer, who looked like a full blood, and why should I be spared? And he dies at 36. And then to go through, I can't tell you, countless abuses from both sides. And I hate to have to turn it into this. I hate to have to, bear my emotions and my bad experiences, but then how do we heal? Because I do agree with you, Stuart, and on many, many things, that. And if you ever needed help, despite my disagreement, I would do anything, because I believe that's the part of the way, that we're supposed to be. So I apologize to you, and I apologize to everybody else. And, I just wish there was some place where we could talk about stuff like this, because I'm tired of going up to Akwesasne and, I can't even go to ceremony anymore. I mean, I used to know all this stuff in my DNA, all the ceremonies in my DNA. Every year in my life, I would feel when the ceremony was happening, and I wasn't taught that because I was in a white foster home. So this is my biogenetic memory. And I'm at a point now where I'm going to die without even my goal. When I was younger, back in the 80s, I wanted to bring land back to the people. And I was knocked down by whites, Puerto Ricans, natives, everybody, constantly, every time I get up to try and help. So I apologize, but I just need you to know, a little bit more about where I'm coming from, because I'm just tired. I'm so tired. The only thing I have left is to hold on to learning the language as much as I can before I die. That's all I got left.
You're very understandable not to say or imply that you're simple. No, it's very understandable. Everything that you're saying, given the meat grinder that you've been dragged through, the genocide that we've all been subjected to. What has happened to us is that there has been this evil presence that has come into our house. It has thrown a stun bomb in the middle of our house. Everybody has scattered. Everybody's disillusioned. Can't see, you can't hear, your senses are blocked. We have been this way now for a couple of 100 years, lost in our own house because of this evil that has come here from Europe. This is a fact. And so what we are dealing with here today, in the here and now, we have to be realistic about it, is that we are the ones that after a couple of generations have to find our way back to the center of that house. We have to make sense of everything. We have to connect what you're saying of the, how did you put it? The genetic memory, something like that.
Biogenetic memory.
We have to connect that memory with the reality of the now and what we know where we have to go. So there's a trajectory that we are making. Now, just imagine that we are shooting a bow and arrow at a, well, not a bow and arrow, that's a not a proper example. I know some of you won't like this example, but imagine you're shooting at a gun at a target, and you got a scope on there. So maybe your first shot a little high to the left, so you got to adjust your sightings until we can hit it perfect. We have to align up 3 different points in time. We got to make sense of chaos. We have to bring law and order back out of the chaos in our house that was created by the stun bomb, the evil that was brought here from Europe. So this is what we're dealing with. You are not forgotten, Janet. It may seem this way because all of our people have been uprooted from their own identity. There is no more love within our people to be able to deal with the ones who were dragged through the meat grinder of residential schools, or the ones who were scooped up, taken away, kidnapped from our people. Fact is, not a one of our communities, not a one of our so-called leaders on any level has established a protocol of how to rematriate you, how to bring you back. Nobody has pursued this. But I'll say to you, and just from the little bit that you've seen, we are the only ones dealing with this. It may not be in the way and as fast as you want, but we are the only ones dealing with it. We are the smallest. We are one. We have no money, no resources. All we have is the ability to share, to hold counsel. And from there, this is up to you, up to everybody, what you do with the information from that point. So, yes, we are all confronted, maybe not to the same degree as you, Janet. No, this is a terrible thing. Yes, it is terrible. Janet was kidnapped as a child from her people, from us, just like so many of our people. How do you think our people deal with that? How has she dealt with it all this time, all these years? What does it look like to that non-native person who's looking at that person on the street and you're saying, oh, look at that bum. Look at that Mohawk in the street. Look at that Anishinaabe. Look at that Innu in the street, without realizing that it's you that put them there. You, the non-native people. It doesn't matter if it's you of 500 years ago or you of the now. It is you that has put them there. It is you that continues to keep them there. And so this is the reason why we are reaching out in the fashion that we have been to reach into as many peoples, as many councils as we can to address this thing and to get people moving to address it. Nobody is moving in addressing this. And whatever this is right now, we're talking about a whole ball of wax. So if you want to look at, say, somebody's one individual experience, yes, we're talking about that. And we're talking about the nation's experience. And we're talking about Turtle Island's experience over the past 500 years. And this is why you can see, just like what you hear in Janet. Is it anger that you hear? No, it's not anger. I don't feel angered or not angered or aggressed by her in her tone. I see passion. I see something, somebody that's going to stand for truth, that's going to push the truth, no matter how far it's going to take them, no matter what they're going to have to stand up against. This is what you are seeing. Europeans, this is what you are seeing in our people, even of the people who are of the least awakened. To whatever degree, they are on board with our agenda. They are just not awakened all the way yet to realize how much they are really pushing our agenda. What is our agenda? Is my agenda any different than your agenda? As you can see, even the non-native people, European people, are coming to listen to what it is that we are sharing. We are not sharing something that is mine, that I developed, and here I'm going to profit from it. No, we are sharing something that belongs to all of us, that every woman has the right to say, no, it's not that way. But then again, don't forget, anybody's going to open their mouth, male or female. You better be able to substantiate your statements in the public arena. If not, I'm going to tear them apart, or somebody else will. So, Janet, keep that fire. Okay, there's Goaniosta is present. We already went to, we're kind of on the other Zoom. But Goaniosta went to that Zoom. She's got her hand up. If you don't mind, Lisa, we'll bring her back into this conversation. Goaniosta, if your question is, or if you have something to say about this, go ahead, the floor is open.
Yes, thank you.
Janet, I didn't get to hear everything you just had to say. I caught the tail end of it, but I just want to let you know that the doors are open in Akuzasne because I'm here now. I stepped into who I am and what our people need. And so I'm just letting you know that the doors are open for you.
Now we'll go.
Trust me, the Indian Way Longhouse.
I know that. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Coming up and the seat for you.
Now we'll go. I'm honored and humbled because I know that our people, our true people, are. That's the way we are. It's the love. And Stuart, I gotta hand it to you again. Thank you for letting me learn to be myself and keeping this going. Because yeah, you're the only one doing it. And that's what keeps coming me back. I'll just say real quick, I've had friends, Seneca, other, try to discourage me from attending your sessions. But you see, I'm still here. So thank you, and I apologize to Edith. I see Mary Cloud, everybody, for being too upset.
Apologize for it, Janet. There ain't nothing to apologize for here. You see what just happened? Everybody take note of something that just happened. This is power. This is life giver power. Because I'm here now, things are going to change. All of you, everybody, follow the same, what is that, credo? What would you call that? Live by that. Live by that statement. Things are going to be different now because I'm here now. You're going to change it. Okay, this is powerful. This is really, I'll say, we'll go to everybody. I just witnessed something. I'll say a movement of Sky Woman. Okay, what are we gonna do here? We have to go in to the moon.
Stuart, will you please, out of all respect to Moon and Eagle, would you please, and Kelly, I think we're going to meet again. Are you okay? Thank you. Stuart, would you please close the circle? And thank you very much. And if we want to do this again, please let me know. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll do something better than that. I'll ask Gweniosta if she's willing to close this circle.
Thank
And
you.
if you are, Gweniosta, just keep this in mind, that we're closing just this one section. It's like being in a house and we're closing that door to the room now. What we're not closing, for the day, because we're going into the moon teachings. Would you be willing to do the closing for this, this other Zoom that we just are coming out of? However you want to do the closing for. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow. I'm having an experience today. This is an experience we're having. I don't know. I know the closing is done, so I'll just say goodbye to you with this. I don't know if you realize what you've observed today, but this is a very big movement. This is a huge movement within Sky Woman. This is a very big thing. Okay, now we'll go up. We have to do the moon teachings here. All of you are more than welcome to join us. You just have to switch over to that computer. You got to jump out of that computer and go into that computer. Okay, so we're going to say goodbye to everybody over here. Lisa Wolf. Now we'll go over everything. I think maybe it kind of looked like a train wreck at first, but no, we're getting clarity out of this. Throw everything into the mix. It may be a little rough, elbows may get rubbed up against each other, but with everything thrown in the mix, we'll be able to extract one truth out of that. So Nyawagoa, for all your efforts, Lisa, it's culminated into something very beautiful and powerful here today. Nyawagoa.
Skinankoa. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Doksha.
Oh,
And please join the Moon Teachings.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Lisa.
Blessings to all.
Thank you, Eagle and Moon. And we will continue. Doksha.